We're going to be looking at 5 realistic targets for free agency for the Indiana Fever. We are working under the assumption that these 3 are coming back. Lexi's coming back, Sophie's coming back. That is the assumption that I'm working with, because if Kelsey goes, then clearly you have first player is a backup center, and I think Demiris Dantas' time at the Fever is probably done. I don't see Dantas playing with the Fever again, if I'm being honest. I think Bree Turner's not good enough. I just think in general Bree Turner is not good enough. So for me, Elizabeth Williams is a good...
Caitlin Clark finally broke her silence, and the entire basketball world felt it. The same people who spent months doubting her, the same critics who said she didn't belong at the highest level, just got their answer. And it wasn't through a press conference or some rehearsed PR statement. It was through what she's been doing all season long. After all the chaos surrounding Team USA's decisions, the message from Clark's camp was clear. They had no choice but to face her greatness. The temperature around this situation has shifted completely, and now the conversation isn't about whether Caitlin Clark can hang with the best. It's about what happens when the best realize she's already there. The Indiana Fever are sitting on a ticking clock. Clark's rookie contract gives them just 3 short years to figure out how to build a championship-caliber team around her before the window closes. And while the world's attention has been fixed on Team USA drama, the real story is happening behind the scenes in Indiana. Every decision the front office makes this offseason will shape how Clark's early career plays out. Will they take advantage of this moment and make the bold moves that winning teams make? Or will they play it safe and waste the most electric talent the league has seen in years? The Fever's situation is more delicate than most fans realize. The numbers tell the story. 3 years of cap flexibility, 1 generational player, and a team that still hasn't figured out its core identity. Indiana's recent struggles weren't because Clark couldn't lead. It was because the pieces around her didn't fit. The spacing fell apart, the defense broke down at key moments, and the rotation was full of players who just didn't mesh with Clark's fast, instinctive style. And now, as free agency looms, every basketball insider is watching to see if the Fever finally get it right. Elizabeth Williams, for example, is a name being whispered by insiders as a perfect fit. She's 33 years old, a seasoned veteran who knows how to hold down the paint without needing the spotlight. Her stint in Chicago was a disaster, sure, but that collapse wasn't on her. Statistically, when she was on the court, her teams played better defense. She shot nearly 50% from the field and gave her squad the kind of maturity that doesn't show up on the box score. For a young team like Indiana, that kind of presence matters. And because her value dropped after Chicago's implosion, she could be a steal if the Fever act fast. The question isn't whether she's good enough, it's whether Indiana has the nerve to grab her before someone else does. Then there's Tammy Benlay. If you've been following the Fever closely, you already know how big this one could be. 2 years ago, Indiana had her and let her walk. Now she's thriving in Golden State with a refined jump shot and the confidence of a player who knows exactly who she is. She's everything the Fever need next to Clark and Aaliyah Boston. Strong on defense, reliable on the boards, and deadly in transition. The stats don't lie. The lineup featuring Clark, Benlay, Boston, and Kelsey Mitchell was statistically one of the best combinations in basketball when they played together. The Fever had it, lost it, and now they have a chance to bring it back. But that means admitting a mistake, something this front office hasn't been great at doing. And that's where this story really takes a turn. Caitlin Clark's impact has forced Indiana into a corner. Fans don't want excuses anymore. They don't want to hear about development or continuity. They want wins. The only thing worse than overpaying a player like Benlay would be letting her go again and convincing themselves that Natasha Cloud or Michaela Timpson can fill that role. Because they can't. The numbers prove it. When Cloud shares the floor with Clark, spacing collapses, defensive assignments crumble, and the offense slows to a crawl. That's not just bad chemistry. That's a blueprint for another wasted season. So what's the solution? It starts with swallowing pride and spending money. Benlay will cost around 3/4 of a max contract to pry out of Golden State, but that's the kind of move championship teams make. If the Fever hesitate, they'll be stuck watching Clark's prime years drift away while other franchises build around lesser stars. Think about that. A player like Caitlin Clark, whose jersey outsells half the league combined, could end up carrying a team that refuses to go all in.
But this would be one of my things where I'm like, I don't hate the Fever doing this, but I don't see them doing it. So the Indiana Fever had a player a couple of years ago that is the perfect player, a much better version of Tasha Howard, but it will cost quite a lot of money to keep her, and it's Temi. I still think Temi is the perfect power forward to play beside Caitlin Clark and Aaliyah Boston. We saw it. The lineup of Caitlin Clark, Lexi Hull, Temi, Aaliyah, and I have a weird feeling if they flame out on their A option, Natasha Howard on a near max contract is coming back, and like, I don't think you have a championship. I don't think you can win a championship with Natasha Howard starting and Michaela Timpson as her backup. I don't think you can win a championship with that, because there are too many games. Like, Natasha Howard is either brilliant or absolutely terrible, and the problem is that Natasha Howard does not play well with Caitlin Clark. So if the Fever are planning on winning with Caitlin Clark, I think.
But there's more to it than one power forward. The Fever need depth, and that's where players like Kennedy Burke come in. She's not a household name, but she's a 3-and-D wing, a rare commodity in the WNBA. She guards multiple positions, hits open shots, and plays with energy on both ends. She also defended Clark better than almost anyone last season, which means she understands how to read her game. After a rough playoff run with New York, her value dropped, making her a prime target for a team that needs exactly her skill set. The Fever could get her at a discount and strengthen their defense instantly. And then there's Beck Allen, another overlooked gem. Chicago's season might have been a train wreck, but Allen still showed flashes of brilliance. When she's hot, she can completely change a game's rhythm. She dropped 27 points in a must-win against Dallas last season, proof that when she's locked in, she's lethal. Under coach Stephanie White, who already knows her from their time in Connecticut, Allen could rediscover that form. She's the kind of risk that smart teams take because the reward could be massive. A minimum contract for a player with that kind of upside? That's how contenders are built quietly, one smart signing at a time. The Fever's front office needs to understand that time isn't their friend. Caitlin Clark's rookie deal is a blessing and a countdown timer all at once. Every dollar they save now is a dollar that won't matter when she's demanding a max contract later. Every missed signing this summer is another year wasted. When you have a generational player on a rookie deal, you don't think about savings. You think about banners. You think about legacy. Because when Clark's contract is up, it won't matter how much cap space they had. The only question that will matter is, did they win? Letitia Amihir is another player that deserves mention. She's not a shooter, not yet, but she brings something this team badly needs: athleticism and grit. She runs the floor hard, crashes the glass, and can guard multiple positions. Pair that with Clark's pace and vision, and suddenly, the Fever's transition game looks terrifying. She's also young, affordable, and versatile, exactly the type of player championship teams keep on their bench for flexibility. If Indiana can land her on a cheap deal, it's another quiet win that pays off big down the line. When you line up all these possibilities, Elizabeth Williams as the steady veteran, Tammy Benlay as the perfect fit, Kennedy Burke and Beck Allen as versatile wings, and Amihir as a spark off the bench, you start to see a different picture. This isn't a rebuild anymore. This is a chance to build a contender right now. The Fever have the money, they have the coach, and most importantly, they have Caitlin Clark. The only thing missing is the courage to pull the trigger. But here's where things get really interesting. Every insider knows that the Fever's front office has been cautious to a fault. They talk about sustainability, long-term growth, and team culture, which sounds good until you realize that means they're afraid to take big swings. Meanwhile, the Aces and Liberty are stacking stars and chasing rings. That's the difference between playing not to lose and playing to win. The Fever have been doing the former for too long. Caitlin Clark changed that. Her presence demands excellence. She's not here to just make the playoffs, she's here to win championships. And that's exactly why this moment matters so much. The Fever can't afford another offseason of hesitation. If they miss on Benlay, they need to pivot immediately. No waiting, no overanalyzing, no letting the market dry up. Burke and Allen are both on the board, both affordable, both proven. Smart front offices don't hesitate in moments like this. They act. The ones that do hesitate end up wondering what went wrong while watching other teams hoist trophies. This offseason is the test that will define the Fever's future. They can either prove that they're serious about building a championship roster or show everyone they're content being good enough. Because the truth is, there's no middle ground when you have a player like Caitlin Clark. She's not just a rookie, she's the face of a movement. She's changing the way people watch women's basketball, bringing in fans who never tuned in before.